So in this video, we are going to be talking about other sequential containers. Mainly, we'll discuss DQ, list, and strings, right? So in the previous video, if you remember, we spoke about vector and look at the greater functionality of vector, of how we can use it in order to store multiple elements in contiguous fashion, right? So let's look at each of them here now. So the first one which we plan to discuss is DQ, right? DQ, as the name suggests, it's a doubly ended queue, like it's basically an implementation of doubly ended queue. And how does it work? It basically works like what we written here only. So let's suppose I have a queue here, which is something like this, wherein multiple elements can be inserted here, or it can be pulled off from this side or from this side, right? So DQ is more like a vector only. The only differentiation is we can actually more like vector, but the only differentiation is we can actually insert or remove from the beginning as well in O1 time. Right, so that's basically how we can think of it in terms of vector. There are multiple disadvantages of using DQ as well, like the access iterator which we use is actually slow. So if I have an iterator which I keep here and the iterator will keep on moving to different elements, the access time would be slow, right, as compared to the vector. The other thing could be there is no contiguous memory location. Now this is very important here. In vector, we discussed we have a contiguous memory allocation, right? So whatever elements were present, they were actually one after another in the memory. But in case of DQ, these are not one after another. Okay, so that's basically, it is not contiguous in nature, the memory allocation of DQ. Now there are multiple other things as well which we have to discuss. Insertion in DQ, like if we want to define a DQ, the most simple way would be define an integer DQ wherein we keep multiple integer elements. And now in this I can do multiple things. I can get a random access of an element in O of 1 time. I can also insert or delete in O of n time if I want to insert delete from the middle or from somewhere else, but it will be O of 1 if I'm doing it from beginning or ending, right? So that's basically the like USP of DQ. Now you might be thinking, since how the random access is O of 1, right? Since it is not contiguous in nature, why the random access is O of 1? So that's basically due to the structure of DQ. Now let us look at the structure of DQ, although it is very complicated, but we'll try to simplify as much as possible. So the structure of DQ is not contiguous in nature, right? The structure follows something like this. So we have a different set of memory locations, or I would say chunk of memory of equal sizes, which we keep here. Let's suppose I have chunk of 4 different memory sizes here, okay? So I have 4 different memory chunks, each of which is actually of 4 size. Okay, now if I have, let's suppose my DQ, this will be my DQ. Let's suppose the elements which are present inside is 7, 8, 9, 13, 14 and 15. So how I will represent it here is, let me just draw one more box here, then I'll show you how we can represent it here. So how I will represent it here is, the first 4 elements will go into the first chunk, 7, 8, 9 and 13. The other 2 will go here, 14 and 15, right? So DQ, it's not a contiguous memory allocation. It's basically the memory is allocated in terms of chunks, right? And how do we access these chunks? We have pointers to each of the chunks. So let's suppose my DQ, like D of 0 will be this will be D of 1, and my pointer here will actually help me identify where my value is located, right? So this is the pointer map. This is something which will help me identify these chunks of memory. So this could be, let's suppose at memory location 1001, this is at memory location 1215, this is memory location 1712, right? They could be at different memory locations. But the thing here is we are keeping track of each of these memory locations, right? So suppose if I get a call of D of 6, now how I will find D of 6, like D of 5, let's suppose. So how I will get D of 5? I will see, okay, D of 5. So the first element will have gone to memory location 1001. So I will skip this block, right? So how many elements are remaining? Now I have 2 more elements are remaining because it needs the 6th element. So I will next go to the next chunk, and in the next chunk I will iterate through the first 2 memory locations and find out my value, right? So that's how the memory gets allocated in case of DQ. We have different chunks of memory and we keep track of all these memory using a pointer map, right? And that is how we will get the value. Suppose if I want to insert a value into a DQ, now what I will do, I will see, okay, first pointer is here, I will go to this memory chunk, this is already filled up. I check the second pointer is pointing here, I go to this memory location, I find out, okay, first is filled, second is filled, third is empty. So then I insert the third element. Let's suppose 17 is incoming element, I will insert 17 here at this position, right? So that's how the memory allocation in DQ work, and that's also one of the reasons why DQ is very memory intensive. It takes a lot of memory, and that's why it is very memory intensive, right? Also for dereferencing a value, dereferencing basically if I want to get a value at a particular index, I will have to make 2 calls, right? In vector we have contiguous set of memory location, right? This is the vector. In vector we can directly go and jump on to, let's suppose, v of 7. Okay, v of 7 is here after 7 positions. But in DQ we first have to consult this pointer map. From pointer map I will go to the exact memory location and there I will dereference again. So there are two dereferencing which are required in order to insert, delete or access an element in a DQ, right? The other thing is expansion of DQ cheaper or it is expensive than vector? Think about it. I'm asking if further expansion or growth is cheaper in DQ or it is expensive than vector. Sorry, yeah. So it is actually cheaper than what is present in vector. The time taken for DQ for its expansion is lesser than time taken by vector. Why is it so? If you remember in vector we saw that whenever the size grows up we have to remove all the elements and move them to a different memory location, right? What if here we just need to add up a separate block of 4 elements, right, and point it to a different pointer. So we don't need to copy all the elements and move it to a different location, where in vector the worst case we have to move all the elements to a altogether new different memory location. So that's why the time taken in order to expansion will be lesser in DQ than it is in vector, right? So that's about DQ. Let's move on to the next container which we plan to discuss, which is list. Now list is very simple. The list generally like resembles doubly linked list, the implementation of doubly linked list. So the elements would be more or less like this, with the arrows would be both the side. Yeah, this will begin here. So in in list there will be no random access, since it's more like a linked list kind of implementation. That's basically one significant property. The insertion and deletion would be much faster here, since if I want to insert an element I will only bring the node here, this will point to this side and this will point to this side. So the insertion would be faster, much faster than in vector as well as in deletion. So deletion and insertion would be faster here. In case of list we don't need to worry about memory, because whenever a new element comes in I will just attach the node here. So we don't need to worry about memory anymore, like moving all the data to another location and then growing up the memory. We don't need to worry about it. It will automatically grow up. We can define a list something like this, just like we were defining a vector. If I want to push back, I can directly push back an element here. So that's basically how we can push back an element on the top of the linked list, like here at the end of the linked list. right? Let's see more functions here in the implementation later on. So that's basically about list. Let us also discuss about the third sequential container which we plan to discuss today, which is going to be strings. Let me just open it. Yeah. So strings and vector of character are very much similar. Okay. But generally they differ in the memory allocation. So it's not actually similar. There would be some differences in the memory allocation. I'm not going into the memory allocation structure of string. That would make this discussion more complex. Strings, a vector of character only. There are few differences which we have with vector here, strings. Although like if I want to define a string, we can define it like this, string s, that's it. We don't need to define anything. Few differences here is in strings we have a greater functionality with respect to character strings, one of which is actually concatenation, substring, compare, find, replace. So these are some of the additional functionalities which strings offer in case of character vectors, like character array kind of thing. Okay, and that's what actually differentiates strings from vector. Cool. So that's about the definition of all three of them. Let us see the code implementation of how we can use different methods here. So first let's take up deque here. If you can see, I have already imported my library and I'm using stds and namespace as well. So we can directly define deque. So deque can be defined something like this. As I told you, it's a doubly ended queue. So now inserting elements is similar to what we are doing in vector. We can actually insert like this only. So we have multiple elements, deque dot, let's just make use of this only. So I have multiple elements which I can push here, 19, let's suppose here, and then we can also, instead of push back, we can also do push front, right? So that's the beauty of deque. We can insert elements towards the start as well, right? Not just from the end, we can insert towards the start. And let's do one more front push. So push underscore front, and let us insert 100 here, right? So that's how we can insert elements. So the deque will look something like this. Once 5 will come, then next to 5 10 will come, then next to 10 19 will come, then before 5 we will insert 90, and then before 90 we will insert 100. So that's how we will arrange the elements in deque. Let's just try to code them, like print them out. So iteration will also be following the same process. So I can just simply do deque of I, and this will give me all the values inside the deque. So if you can see, 100 is coming, then 90, then 5 10 10 and 19, right? So this is the order we are following, and in the same order we will print the elements. Deque can also be printed via iterator. So if you want to print via iterator, we can define iterator here, and sorry, there's a typo here, and then we can just do while iterator equal to deque dot begin, and iterator is not equal to deque dot end. We will keep incrementing the iterator, and this will help me print all the values inside the deque. So we can just simply use the dereference operator again and print all the values here. Let me just comment this portion out. Now let's try to run this code. Okay, so this can also be used in case of deque, like traversing through deque. Now let us look at the second container which we plan to discuss, which is my list, right? So list is again a doubly ended list, what we see in STL. We can define a list just like this. Let me define a list here, li. Now li will also be, we can actually use the same process in order to push the elements. So sorry, there is a push back 10, and we can also push from the back side. So let us see, we can do li dot push underscore front. This will actually push from the front side. Let's just like insert one more element towards the end, so 19, right? Now list, in case of list, if I try to print like this, let's just see. If I try to print like this, right, if I just run this code, it will give me a error. Why? Because it will not support this kind of operator. So for list we will not have to use this. Instead, let us use a iterator only. So I'll just define an auto iterator and save some time. So iterator is equal to li.begin. Iterator is not till the iterator is not equal to li.end. We will keep on incrementing the iterator, and this will actually help me print all the values. So star iterator. So this will print all the values. Let's just try to run this code now. Great. I think something else is also getting printed. Okay, let me just comment this portion out. So if you see, elements are coming in the same order in which we are pushing them, right? Pop front will come to the beginning because this is push front will come to the beginning, right? We can also pop elements here. So if I use li dot pop back, this will actually pop from the back. So if I use li dot pop back something, it will take up the one element which is towards the back. If you see this, it will actually pop out 19 in our case, right? So it is popping out the last element, pop back. We can also do pop front here, which will remove 20. So there's a use case of list. Let us now see the third one which we plan to discuss today, which is strings. Now strings are very like one of the most common data structure which we use as well, and here in containers it has a very powerful library wherein we can merge, we can do a substring kind of thing and different other operations on top of strings, the trivial strings which we study, right? So defining a string is very simple. We can define a string like this. Let me define one string here. So let me define varlarg, and the other one is let's call it s1, and let's call this s2 is equal to modulus, right? So I'll just define varlar modulus. I'm like not a very huge fan of GOT, but this is one of the famous codes, right? So if I do cout s1 plus s2, this will actually concatenate both the strings. Let's just try to see out this. If I try to print it out, it will concatenate both the strings, and that's one operation which is actually feasible inside strings. The other operation which we can see is we can actually do a substring as well. So suppose if I want to print a substring of s2, so substring basically takes up the first parameter as from where we want to, like this is the start iterator or the start index, and then the length. So this is the start iterator from where I want to print the substring, and then this will give me the length to what extent I want to print, right? So here if I give 0,5, this will print the first 5 elements. Now let us just try to run this. Okay, so if you see, we are only printing the first 5 elements here, morgh. Strings can also be compared. So if I want to compare string, let's suppose s1 is not equal to s2, cout not equal. So they can also be compared just like this. Directly comparison between strings can happen, and this will give me not equal because they both are not equal, right? So there are multiple other operations in strings as well, which we will see when we discuss about strings. But for now, these are the 3 other different kind of sequential containers which we have.